I finally found the time to both play and GM Mythos World, which is a powered by the Apocalypse version for Call of Cthulhu. So if you're wondering, this is the hardcover print edition, the German one from System Matters, who just had their 6-year company anniversary. So best wishes, and I'm looking forward to another 6 years of great indie role-playing products. Now, if you don't know other powered by the Apocalypse role-playing games, let me give you a brief overview. It's a very narrative-focused, abstract and simple, easy to learn system that usually relies heavily on improvisation and player input. The basic resolution mechanic is that you roll 2d6 and add your attribute modifier. And if that sum is 6 or less, then the GM makes a so-called move. That can be something like damaging the player or revealing a new threat, an approaching threat. If the sum is between 7 and 9, the character succeeds with the action, but at a cost. Maybe they use up ammunition. Maybe they expose themselves to danger and damage they have to deal with. Or in case of Mythos World, they increase the threat posed by the horror, by the monster, or whatever horror of the week you're using for your adventure. Only on a 10 plus do you succeed with your action without any hitches. Now what this does is, most actions that the characters are going to take will succeed, but at a cost. So little by little they will be using up their resources. Their ammunition, their lockpicks, the batteries for the torches or whatever. Little by little they will accumulate stress and wounds and get worn down, so towards the final of the adventure they will be on their last legs and will be struggling to get through it, thus increasing the tension of the adventure, of the scene. And in most of these actions the players decide what kind of damage, what kind of drawback they are getting. So you as a GM don't have to manage what resources of the players you have to use up. You don't have to keep their hit points in mind or their ammunition. The players will do that for you. So that makes sure that they will be worn down across the board evenly. What this also does, which is important for an investigative game like a game of Cthulhu, is that the failure of the characters at an action doesn't stop the adventure. It doesn't bring the investigation to a halt. Now this is something you can take from a Apocalypse World RPG and use this concept in any other RPG, but it's built in Mythos World. So when your characters are searching for clues, maybe they've broken into a room of a suspect and are now rummaging through it, and you have them roll to find something, usually they will find something. Maybe they'll find something at a cost, maybe they'll find something they don't want. But even if they roll 6 or lower, if they fail the roll, you as a GM make a move to advance the story anyhow. Maybe the suspect comes walking in right at that moment and sees them rummaging through his room. Now it's a chase. The adventure doesn't just stop because of a bad roll. And that is something you should keep in mind, whatever system you're GMing. Another reason, powered by the Apocalypse Mythos World, suits Cthulhu adventure very well is because it is narrative focused and simple and very easy to learn. You can just grab a few of your friends and explain the rules to them in like 5 minutes, and 10 minutes later will have made up their character. The game makes it very easy to get into a game, into a one-shot quickly. Even if you just meet and you didn't even prepare an adventure. In the back of the book, there are a few sample adventures, and they are compressed to like 2 pages with a few dramatic characters, inciting incident, setting, and you just improvise from there and take what the players are doing, what the players are looking for, and just run with it. Instead of having a point buy system with lots and lots of skills and percentiles, powered by the Cthulhu and Mythos World especially use something called a playbook. So to create a character, you can just pick this playbook and your character sheet will guide you through the character creation process. So you've got your 4 attributes, and right below them it stands which points to allocate to them. It's +2, +1, +1, and -1. And it gives you example backgrounds and example names you just have to underline, and even an example character description. Just underline it and you're done and can introduce your character. Also takes care to give you example relationships to other characters, like I have to convince this one that magic is real, or so on, so on. And in Mythos World, there are tons and tons of these playbooks. From A to archaeologist to as like scientists, there's a whole bunch. Pretty much every classical 20th Cthulhu character you can think of, there is a playbook for that. And though these playbooks only give you a few abilities, you can still differentiate your character from another character using the same playbook. For example, in the game I was playing a criminal, and I had the option to make it like a mob enforcer and put my +2 in strength and give it a mob connection and a knuckle duster and portray a criminal like that. But I went a completely different direction. I put my +2 in dexterity, and I took an information network ability and made it a cat burglar out for the biggest heist, which was also a really good way to get that character into the adventure. The character was there to steal a precious stone from a rich upstart noble. So before the characters even knew there was mythos shenanigans going on, my character was super involved in trying to get as much information and planning that heist. And paid dividend when eventually the mythos shenanigans and the monster showed up. And I already had scouted out all the locations and prepared for a hasty escape because I was going to steal that stuff. The trade-off for having this very narrative simple system is that there is not a lot of room for the characters to grow and change within a long campaign. There's some room, certainly there are rules for that, but it's not exhaustive. In my Call of Cthulhu experience, characters don't survive very long, and a long Cthulhu campaign is nothing I have ever successfully played. Usually we just play one-shots. Maybe a character will survive 2 or 3 one-shots before eventually the mythos takes them. So I don't think it's a big drawback. And if you have seen my GM's perspective on Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, you will know that I have my gripes with the system. It's a bit overcomplicated. I always have to read and double check the rules for stress and madness, and some of the rules, like the chase rules, are downright awful and completely unusable. Mythos World remedies all of these problems, and I can just focus on what I think is important for a Call of Cthulhu adventure, on the narrative, on what is horrible, what the monster does, on the atmosphere, on the non-player characters, and I don't have to worry about the rules so much. It will work out somehow. So Mythos World is now my favorite way to play Call of Cthulhu. That's all for today. If you liked this video and maybe want to see more like it, like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and goodbye.